Hi, everybody. I'm Pascal Bécache, live from Milan, and I am in the office of Indicon with Paola and Michaela and Didier. So this is a joint webinar from Indicon and Digital Pharma Lab, and we will today announce a big partnership all over Europe with Indicon and Digital Pharma Lab. But first of all, thank you, Paola, for hosting us here in Milan. Buongiorno. And can you tell us a little bit about you and Michaela?
Absolutely. So, bonjour tout le monde. I'm Paola Lanati, founder of Indicon, Société Benefit, and Michaela Riva is our innovation lead. We are very pleased to welcome you here in Italy. So very quickly about myself, 25 years in the life science world, first as executive in Big Pharma, then I founded in 2010 the leading company on the market access, which I sold in the end of 21 to a multinational company, just to concentrate since 23 into Indicon, which is in charge for innovation in life science, digital health, and biotech startup. And our aim is to be the catalyst of innovation in life science in Italy.
Okay, thank you very much, Paola. Very happy to be here. You know, Milan is a wonderful city. It's 33 degrees today here, so it's very hot, but unfortunately we are under the air condition. So Michaela is the innovation manager of Indicon, and the Digital Pharma Lab, we are the two co-founders of Digital Pharma Lab, Didier.
So Didier, I'm one of the two co-founders. Before joining and creating Digital Pharma Lab with Pascal, I used to be an investor in digital startups, but not in healthcare. And of course, Pascal convinced me that healthcare was the future of the digital innovation. So that's how we are now developing Digital Pharma Lab.
Okay, so I'm Pascal Bécache, and I am the other co-founder of Digital Pharma Lab. And prior to that, I worked within IBM in France and in Europe, and then for IMS Health, which is now IQVIA. I was in the top management of IMS Health in France. And then we have founded Digital Pharma Lab in France, which is a company, a consulting company for digital innovation. And Paola, how did you start thinking to partner with Digital Pharma Lab?
So first of all, we met in a common project here in Italy on a customer who was visiting Italy for you. And then knowing you, I understood that we have a common view on the market, how to develop innovation in digital health, in the pharma and medtech business, and knowing you, I think which is important for working together. I found someone with similar values, similar vision, which is the basis of a partnership.
Okay. Today, can you explain a little bit what Indicon is, and then we will explain what Digital Pharma Lab is.
Yeah. So we call ourselves a catalyst for innovation. So it's clear that we want to be only a consulting company working on all kind of innovation in life science. And the reason why we focus on that is that in my former experience as market access, we were working on the late stage of innovation in drugs and technology. And as you know, about 80% of the innovation is now come from the startups. So I said, first, this element. The second one is the focus on digital health. Let's develop something fully dedicated to all the sources of innovation. And based on our experience, we decided to focus specifically on one of the key drivers for success for startup, which is the product market fit. So we are very much concentrated on go-to-market product market fit, open innovation programs. We also launched the first online journal dedicated to innovation in life science, which is in Lives. Knowing more and more also as an angel investor, the startup world, my understanding is that an activity like a client partnering, so putting together a startup and a big corporation which need innovation to grow their services is a key winner. And so we are also developing project not only for startups, but also for a big corporation, and also to put all together, which by the way is quite similar to what you are doing in France.
It is. I like very much when you say 80% of innovation come from startups. So this is exactly what we think with Digital Pharma Lab, and this is also why we have founded Digital Pharma Lab, Didier.
Yes, exactly. Coming from the startup world, we know that today innovation is coming in every market from startup. What we found also is that the healthcare industry is at the same time in some difficulties for a lack of healthcare professional, and at the same time a bit away in terms of digital transformation. What we found is that especially the pharma companies and the medical device manufacturer are big players, and they are the one that can also drive innovation, creating collaborations. So that's why our main focus is really creating partnership between this small and very innovative company and also with big company, because we think that working together is especially how we can create value and transform our healthcare systems.
Okay, so we have on the line, we have Italian people, we have French people, we have Italian people living in France, and I say hello to Carlo especially, and we have also probably French people living in Italy. So, you know, France and Italy are very, not totally similar, but quite similar. We will see that in a moment. But why a partnership? I think we can go through some slides and say, sorry, they are at the end of the presentation, but we announced a new partnership, of course, between Indicon and the Digital Pharma Lab. Can you explain a little bit this partnership?
So we decided to get the name, which, as you can see, is the Galaxiom network, and then Didier will explain why. But I think, in my experience, so I work a lot in the Italian market, but today can work for startup because you start in a country. But then today in the healthcare system, you cannot play on one unique country. So the idea of the network is to create a partner for the company who want to go abroad and to have a more European view. And we look at France not only because we met, but because France and Italy are quite similar. They influence each other for sure in the drugs business assessment, but not only on that. We see later a comparison of the two countries, but basically they have a healthcare system which is quite similar. I have to say that the challenge of digital health is that you need a combination of competencies. You need the digital competencies and healthcare system competencies. And many times the digital companies are coming with just one of the two. They think it's easy, but the healthcare system is not easy because it's a mix of consumer and payer healthcare. And so this requires common elements, but also different competencies. And we started from what I think is important in a company, which are the values of the people, the way of working, the goals. We understood talking with each other that our customer has a different, I'd say, common needs on the market, independently from being in France or in Italy. And this creates the basis for the platform, the common point. Then we also have complementary competencies because we come from market and market access, you come from the IT and digital service, and this is very rich. So also from the meeting we had today, we understood that these complementary competencies can grow up our single service offer. and give to the customer a broad view. So our aim is to become the main partner for international company or company that want to become international at European level. And that's the reason why we created a network to really drive innovation, because the other point, I think from a personal standpoint, that innovators are similar across the world. They have similar features, and this is something that I found also in our customers. So the way of looking at the future with a much higher risk, but also opportunities with a lot of curiosity. So something that makes this field to me, I mean, very, very funny, interesting, and you never stop learning.
Yes.
This is exactly what we found also in you, not only because we are similar. I mean, they say Italian are similar to Greek, to Greece. I think we are more similar to French, especially Milan, I would say.
So yes, I think
Yes, maybe just so today we are very pleased to announce that we are creating today right now this Galaxiom network. We had a lot of discussion about the name of this network, and the word that came out was Galaxy. And why Galaxy? Because we think that digital health is not a new frontier. There is almost no frontier. It's really a new space that we have to invent together. The second is we have the culture of partnership, of open innovation, and we think that there is already a galaxy of people, a galaxy of organization, and we want all this galaxy of organization to come together. So today it's not only about Italy and France. Or Italy and France is just the beginning. We really want to have all other countries to contribute and join this Galaxiom network. And what brings us together is that we know that innovation, startups, and digital, it's not about technology. Of course, it is about technology, but the main drivers are people and culture. And when we talk about culture, it's not, yes, only about Italian culture or Milanese culture or French culture. It's about that a broader and almost galactic culture with the conviction that digital innovation is just at the beginning. And once again, with a very, very high impact on our healthcare system. So it's almost about people. We saw that even if we are coming from different backgrounds, we are sharing the same vision, we are sharing the same conviction, and we are sharing the same energy. And so here it's really to tell everybody here online that this is the beginning, that you are free to join us, and that it will make a big change in the system. What you see on the map is that we are starting from a few, let's say, countries, Italy, France, and Belgium. And what we want is, of course, to make sure that the broader space and the next limit is Europe, because we think that Europe will be the leader in terms of digital health innovation, and to become this leader, we have to bring the forces together.
So thank you. Yes. So today, what we can offer first a lot of services and consulting to Italian startup that want to go to France. Digital Pharma Lab can help with the help of Indicon, of course, because we know very well the healthcare system in France. We know the VCs, we know the regulatory environment, the government affairs, etc. We know all the ecosystem with hospitals and pharma and medical devices companies. So for those who know us, Digital Pharma Lab is very well entrenched in the ecosystem. The same for Indicon. So the French startup that want to enter the Italian market, Paola, you can give them a lot of information because you are very well also involved and committed into the Italian ecosystem. You have a lot of connection.
Thank you. Also, you said. No, exactly. So just to give you an idea of how we would like to structure our offer, so it's in from a geographical standpoint in two directions. So for Italian company who want to enter the French market and vice versa, but also to leverage on European coverage because we have both the background, the history to cover all the European countries. And with what? First of all, we are both a consulting company, so we very much think we can build added value specifically on a strategic standpoint. And we know that for startups specifically, but also for the big corporation, the go-to-market strategy is the first point of success. So market shaping, market entry is for digital health is the key point to understand if I can be successful in a country because we have similarities, but we also have peculiarities of the healthcare system specifically. And the digital therapeutics, for example, is an example. So we have the huge penetration in Germany, the huge history, but now all the different companies are trying to penetrate the other markets because one country is not enough for any in terms of sustainability. So in this sense, the go-to-market strategy is important. For example, we operate a lot with temporary manager in different direction, business development, but also strategy, marketing, and digital marketing, and whatever. Then we have the second part of the operation. We discover in the different countries with event we have in Italy. So the review to spread knowledge specifically in a very specialized target like the innovators. But also open innovation programs to discover, start up new project. For example, we work a lot in combination with venture capital. We launched in Italy for
business angels also.
I'm also the Italian Angels for Biotech Vice President. But we developed another important project, which is the list up, so the database of the Italian startup, innovative startup focus on life science.
How many startups in this list up?
So in now we are studying them from 2019. We will present the data in September 23rd, and in our database there are more than 1,000 startups.
Okay.
So, and this is a very important, not only for venture capital funds, but also for corporation, because in my view, a lot of this company create very innovative services, but they cannot live alone. So they can be, first of all, B2B. Many of them are starting as B2C, but they are becoming B2B. The example is, for example, digital health for insurance. We have in Italy Da Vinci. We discovered that Generali bought in France,
yes,
a French company. So a lot of similarities in the approach. And on the other hand, so for the big corporation, you can find in the startups not only in drugs acquisition, but also in services, a lot of real innovation. Because the point of the startup is that they are very much close to the market. Many of them are starting from QLs, physician, or people who really live the real life.
Yes.
And you mentioned what happened in the COVID, and exactly at that time I decided to concentrate my activity in digital health, but you experienced, because you are, Digital Pharma Lab was born before, so you can say what is your experience on,
yes,
on COVID.
Yes, exactly. So we have also a big list of startups thanks to our main program called Coalition Next that the French people probably know. And Coalition Next is a big call for project that we launch every year with pharma and medical devices company and hospitals to find some innovative startups to experiment within hospitals with the financial help of big pharma and medical devices companies. So we have experienced already 40 projects since 2020, since the COVID outburst, and it's a big success. And we are experiencing a lot of transformation because the digital health is transforming every day. Today, the head of Coalition Next is the general manager for France for Sobi. And we have decided to go with the large call for project, but also with some work streams, for instance, in rare disease, artificial intelligence and rare disease, and also some others, and with a lot of hospitals. Yesterday, I spoke to the hospital of Lyon, Nantes, Brest. A lot of hospitals are working with us. So this is how we have also a database of 1,000 startups in France. So 1,000 in Italy, 1,000 in France. We know the ecosystem. I think this Galaxiom network, starting with Indicon and Digital Pharma Lab, is very well armed to help startups, but also corporate companies. Didier, how can we help corporate companies like pharma and medical device?
Sure.
We start with France and then we
sure. So getting back to the name Galaxiom, what we found out is that there is a galaxy of players. On one side, of course, the startup, as you mentioned, hospital, pharma company, insurance company. And all those players used to work in their own stream, in their own silo. What we found out is that today, with digital innovation, all the markets are changing, the frontier are changing. There has been also in other markets, like media, like finance, in fact, new markets have been coming, new players have been consolidating. And what we think is that, of course, that's going to happen between pharma companies, between insurance company, also a banking system, hospitals. Everybody see these new opportunities to provide new services. And of course, we think that any company has to work on their own digital strategy, because their digital strategy means more growth, meaning more revenues, and also accelerating the way to expand to new frontier. So that's why, once again, it's really this galaxy of players working together, and there is also the need to explore. When we look about Galaxy, it's really the exploration of new space. And we know between the situation that we have today in our day-to-day life, when you go to a hospital, when you go to a doctor, do you think that we are really taking advantage of all the digital solution? Do we think that we are at the end of using digital, that everything is smooth, that everything is on our smartphone, everything is on our database? If we think so, yes, you have maybe you are right, but we think that the situation is in a way where nobody wants to see that everything is going to change. And when everything is going to change, we know that it's at the same time some opportunities and there is some risk. And what we are telling to every company is that just look out of the window, just like look at this new galaxy of digital innovation, because if you don't do that, then you will have a problem soon enough. And we are really happy that it's the same for Indicon and with us, that we are already working with many players that see all these new opportunities coming. But we think that once again, there is plenty to do in each of the country, but not only in each of our country. It's really at the European and also at the global level.
What is interesting is that we can find for a large corporation, we can find startups that could fit for the French market and the Italian market. So it means that we can have scalability, economy of scale. And I think it's very interesting to share this because, you know, when you are looking at a local actor, like a local startup, okay, you find a startup in Italy, it's good, it works in Italy, but if you can also bring it in France, it's fantastic because you have this economy of scale. Is it something you believe in?
Absolutely. So let me start from the European Innovation Scoreboard, which was published in July. So in Italy, we are moderate innovators a country, but we are very strong in a single innovator. So the score for the overall parameters is about 90%, but a single innovator, we are at 150. Then we lack of capitals. We are very bad in finance. In VC, it's very well known compared to France. In general, it's about 1 out of 6 investment in terms of money. In life science, the gap is much more limited. So life science and venture capital is, quite good in Italy, specifically in life science, because we have a very strong research, and this gap in this field is limited. But you have also, for example, Sofinnova, which is a French VC, which is investing in Italy. So starting from the startup, what can be the value for the corporation, what we can do? I think, let's think about diabetes. So there are new drugs to treat diabetes, but there is a huge need for digital health to improve the patient care of diabetes. So I think digital health is a tool to speed up some processes. So we lack of physicians in both countries. So the digitalization of the healthcare, where our country is investing a lot of money right now after COVID, can be a huge opportunity to treat the patient. And our concept is, first of all, to start from our customer target. So thinking that we need to serve the patient, because the good thing of the healthcare is that you're helping the health of the patient, of people who are suffering, and independently from whatever is the technology you use. So starting from a patient, for example, with diabetes, you can help their lives with a new drug, a better drug, but you can help them also with tools, medical device, whatever, digital therapies or whatever it is, which can improve their lives. And I think that today, at least in Italy, our healthcare system is very much stressed. I have a physician, a lot of friends physicians, and I think they are our heroes, not only in COVID, but even today, because 20 years ago, the physician is a very important guy, and now our physicians are suffering. There are people who doesn't want anymore to be a physician, and we should think about that, because we cannot think the technology can without ethics is nothing. No. Maybe in Europe we are too much regulated. So one of the issues, they say US they invent, in Europe we regulate. So I think we need to try a balance between technology, regulation, and that's why we can help whatever from it is the size of the company, we can help, because we know the healthcare system, and we can combine the technology to help the regulation. For example, in Italy, we work on digital therapeutics with a digital policy lab to try to shape the rules of the market, and to think our country about digital therapeutics as an opportunity from a business standpoint for the country, for GDP growth, and for the patient, in order to allow them. Many times the regulation follows the technology too late, I mean, with a following approach. And I think that also in the healthcare system, we work a lot with innovators, even within the HCP, the healthcare professional, because not only in the companies, but also in the healthcare system, we have innovators. And that's the reason why the community and like the coalition in your country, which is a good idea, we will take it to be bigger, is key because things change thanks to innovators, which are the first one who try something. But the other point is not talking also about people and why the consultancy company are based on people. The quality we look for the quality of our people. It's very hard to find good people because especially in innovation, change management, as mentioned, is one of the most difficult things to implement. So maybe I can find an engineer very skilled in AI, machine learning, which I'm not. But I think you need to insert this innovation in something very, very traditional. So we have an issue in Italy, the line in the rural countries. So whatever is the innovation of the artificial intelligence, if you don't have line, your tool is not working. So we need to help the innovation, especially in our country, to go to, as I say, to the bed of the patient or whatever in every part of the country.
We of course we experience the same problem in France with the demotivation of healthcare professional, with the demographics figures that are not in favor of a sustainable healthcare system. Yeah. So and we really think together that digital can bring back some ease in the healthcare system that it is today.
Let me add something. When in my former life, when you're looking for the reimbursement of a drug, you were saying, so there are drugs that are optimizing the organization, so reduce the time of the infusion or whatever. And the players at that time, they say, hey, but yeah, okay, you are having an organizational advantage, but what should we do? Should we fire physician or other people? And the answer, of course, was not. But today that we don't have physicians, we don't have people working in the hospital, I think a technology that can help innovation, help the organizational stuff is needed. Yes. Because now we don't have people who is working.
Absolutely, and this is very important. For instance, in France, now there are some digital medical devices that are reimbursed not only on the healthcare value it can bring, but also on the organizational value it can bring. You know, if it helps easing, for instance, the patient pathway within a hospital, it can be reimbursed, which is very important. And I know that in Italy, reimbursement will happen. It's not totally yet here, but it will happen. All right.
Let me say so. The issue of Italy is that the structure is difficult to change. So we're very much quite organized, fragmented in terms of. I would go to this one. The ministers, the agencies, the regions. So for any foreign people who come to Italy, so we need first to explain what is it in English. In Italy. And then you find in the different structures, in my experience, very innovative people, positive people who want to make better stuff. I think when there was the HCV drugs, there was a huge issue about the additional funding. And the Minister of Health at that time, Beatrice Lorenzin, decided to create the fund for innovative drugs, additional 500 million euro that became 1 billion. So I think that this is a country with very good people, and if they want, they can create innovative solution to face the challenges. On the other hand, I would say today, the issue we have in digital health is that the competencies are spread in different agencies, because you are for foreign people, you have the Minister of Health, which is in charge for medical device. Then you have IFA.
Where France and Italy are very similar, because we have the same kind of a fragmented landscape.
Then you have agencies for digital health. So the issue we are facing is to try to connect the different players in a dedicated pathway, for example, for digital therapeutics, but the same is also for more patient monitoring. So I think many times the national agency is looking at France assessment of the drugs. I think something that we need to take into account in Italy is that both in France and in Germany, the same agency which is assessing drugs and devices in Germany and drugs in France are assessing also the digital monitoring. And I was very much surprised when the French guys came to us and said, okay, we are one of the reimbursement tools who got 600 euro per patient in terms of Bécache. And I think it is a great result, because we know that in Germany, after the first year, the reimbursement of digital therapeutics is about 300.
Yes.
But I think it's something we need to take into account, because a lot of the German companies are failing because this price is not sustainable for the company, exactly as it was for the ATM company. So I think we had a period of time where the sustainability was for the healthcare system. So the drug is too much expensive. Now we are facing a period where innovation has to be funded heavily, and we should try to create the balance of both sustainability. So this is, to me, the challenge of the next year.
We had the chance with Digital Pharma Lab to work in Germany and in France with startups, so with the German Didier system and with the French system, also the Bécache and the telemonitoring reimbursement. Didier, you have been able to work on the two systems.
Yes. Exactly. We work with some startups and some pharma company in Germany, and we also work in France with the same French startup. What we saw is that one of the big problems is the fact that the prescription coming from healthcare professional to prescribe digital health solution is one of the big problem, to really convince that today you can prescribe digital health solution just like you can prescribe drugs. And there is a big change in the culture of healthcare professional, and this is today one of the big challenge. And of course, what we think is that pharma company or medical device manufacturer can easily access this healthcare professional, because they are already reaching out to them. They have a trusted relationship, and they are probably the best player to in fact develop this opportunity to tell healthcare professional, yes, today, in order to treat your patients, you need to prescribe drugs, but you can also prescribe digital health solutions that are already sometime reimbursed by the social security. So it's not about the technology. It's not about the reimbursement itself. It's really how, in fact, the culture can change. Getting back to what Pascal had explained, is that what we saw during the COVID was a big change in the way we see the healthcare system, because the healthcare system has been really stressed during the pandemic time, and we saw that it was really a period where many, in fact, innovations came into play all around the world. Today, there is much less stress, even if our healthcare system are still suffering. But the ability to transform is still something that we have to work. And the way we do that is to do that very pragmatically, meaning we have to tell healthcare professional, yes, you should prescribe digital health. Yes, digital health solution will help your patient, but also will help you. And getting back to what we are discussing, of course, what you are saying, Paola, is there is a lot of things regarding money. And what we are seeing today is that the money tomorrow will come from digital health solution. If you look today at as any consumer, how much money you are spending on the digital, it's probably between 10 to 20% of your expenses. Now, if you look at the healthcare system, how much money is expended into digital? Probably less than 1%. Or do we think that it's going to be the same in the future? Now, if you look at, let's imagine that we come from 1% of the expenses of the healthcare professional into digital, and that will come to 10%. It means that there is a huge value and a lot of money to be created for these players. And that's exactly what we are saying. It's what we are doing, and it's also about Galaxiom. We think that it's really about big money.
Great. So, of course, feel free to ask questions. There is a question and answer forum in the Zoom system. So, if you want to ask questions, just write them down. We will be very happy to answer back. In the meantime, I saw. I will show it. As you said, there are a lot of similarity, but I want to be. I think it's here. Well, if I look at this one, there is a lot of money that has been provisioned by the different Italian government agencies for digital health. If I look at the technological and digital update and infrastructure, 7.4 billion. It's absolutely similar in France since the election of President Macron. We saw around 20 billion in digital health, with a lot of initiatives and a lot of new employees in digital health. France wants to be the startup nation in digital health. So there is around 1 million new employees, not only digital health, but digital altogether. But digital health is around 20%, so it's a lot. So, there is, to take what you just said, there is a lot of money that has been poured into the system in Italy and in France. So what we offer together, Indicon and Digital Pharma Lab, is the opportunity to go to the tap of this money and to get some money for startups, but also for pharma and medical devices companies that want to invest in digital health in Italy and in France. And if I go, if I go, so the Italian innovation life science ecosystem is as complicated as the French one. So, but the good news is you have a lot of, a lot of companies. You put just some here, some of these companies are also well known in France. I mentioned some. There are some companies in France that want to come in Italy. I think it's a very good move, by the way. It's probably easier to come to Italy rather than to go to the US, for instance. There is probably more money in the US, but it's more complicated. And now with the partnership with Galaxiom, I think it's even more simple.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is what we can help each other, of course, with Italian startup and French startup who want to go abroad. We mapped using the definition of the Digital Therapeutic Alliance. So what are the different startups? I think one of the points is that after many years where the market was quite stable in terms of dynamics, after COVID, we saw a lot of changes. This is the reason why we need a strategic view, we need a different view based on change management, because the technology is changing. So the fact that I didn't know, but in Italy, I knew about Italy. In Italy, one main insurance bought a digital company, Digital Da Vinci. In France, generally bought another ones. Means that the players are changing. So now 20% of the OTC market is online. So the e-commerce, it was something unbelievable in Italy. So the size of the market is changing. The rules of the wholesaler is changing today. The concentration of the pharmacies in Italy, so something unbelievable 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So the market shaping and changing. We are a country where the healthcare system was considered the main source of payment, but the market is not in that way, because we have, for example, so we are about 10 billion euro spent in hospital drugs. We have about 5 billion of nutritional supplement. So people is paying 5 billion in Italy out of 10 billion of the healthcare system. So the private part, the B2C is relevant. So all these dynamics and numbers just to say that our market after COVID has been heavily affected, and the player are very much complicated. The dynamics of the market are very much complicated than even 3 years ago. So we need to understand for a company what are the real drivers. So I will be very much more confident to work in a pharma company where, for example, for TMPs, because the rules of the TMPs or hospital drugs are quite similar, so they need to deal with the budget, but this is what it is. With innovation, it's much more complex, because shall we do a B2C model? Many of the B2C companies, startup became B2B. And then what does it mean? It means that now the target is not the consumer anymore, but it's another company. And then the reason why the client venture is on putting together startup and corporations. Then you have also the insurance. In Italy, some years ago, it was about now more than 1% of the insurance market. Now it's more than 10%, growing a lot. So the insurance are looking at digital health. Then you have a platform like, for example, in Italy, we have Uno Bravo, which is a platform for help from psychologists, which is becoming a big company and with a lot of success, which is entering Spain or France. So really, it's the right moment for a huge change in the healthcare system, and where the roles of the startup, the venture capital, are very much important, especially in our field, because in the end, from the venture capital and in general from the investor, healthcare is one of the main market, and so also long term, second one after IT in terms of ROI.
Sure. I just wanted to spend just 1 minute about Leonardo da Vinci, because
we are in the city.
Yes, we are in the city, and
Yeah.
there is everything regarding Leonardo da Vinci, and that's for me big example of exactly what we're saying, because Leonardo da Vinci was really a big innovator in artistic painting, but also in engineering, in everything. But he completely changed the world because it was the beginning of Rinascimento in Italy, Renaissance in France, and it's just one person, just one innovator moved from Middle Ages to a new world, to the modern time. And what we are talking about today is we have a galaxy of Leonardo da Vinci today.
Yeah.
They are all these.
By the way.
Yes, Mona Lisa is in France, but it's not too far away.
Masterpiece.
And yes, many paintings are here. So that's exactly the kind of things that win one people, and also let's say a big link between two countries, Italy and France, has completely changed, in fact, the history of the world, moving once again to Middle Ages to Renaissance. And that's what we are seeing today. Galaxiom is the seed, in fact, of this new era where digital will leverage, in fact, all these innovators and change everything in many fields. And of course, engineering is part of that, but not only that, just a new culture and new ideas.
So Da Vinci Galaxiom, I understand that.
Yeah, for Da Vinci. There is another recent example of collaboration between Italy and France, and I think we can learn a lot from our country in terms of innovation, because we have single but not the system. So one of the most recent investment, Nucleo from Stefano Buono, which was the founder of AAA, so received 400 million from Macron. So he had to come to France to receive 400 million. And I mean, there are a lot of people who invested in this startup, which is not a normal startup because it's very, very huge. But I mean, this is the example of how France is believing in real innovation and so on. And but I really think I'm proud of what we are doing in Italy, because and every one of us can do something. There is a huge ecosystem of the venture capital startup world, which is pushing a lot to make venture capital investment more relevant in Italy. I have to say, we have, I mean, we can complain, but I think we can also say what is positive. In August, the Startup Act, which was not exactly what the ecosystem was asking, but for example, the positive stuff is that they are obliging the insurance to invest 5% of venture capital.
That's very good.
Which is positive. So this is not what we need as an ecosystem of startup, but it's at least a first time. So I try to be, as an entrepreneur, I have to be positive and optimistic,
and we can be, if I look at all the services we can offer together to startup and life science companies, to big corporate, to investors, venture capitalists. So you can see on the slide, all the kind of services. In addition, you have also some publishing services here at Indicon. So as we go to the end of our webinar, I would like to have a word of conclusion. Of course, if you have a question, please, it's still time to ask. But I would like to have some words of conclusion. First of all, as we said at the beginning, we are announcing Galaxiom network, which is a network of consulting company for market access and corporate consulting in healthcare and digital healthcare and innovation. First of all. Second, we will encompass this range of services, and also some marketing services, digital marketing services, and artificial intelligence services and consulting. Third, we share some strong values and beliefs that digital will change the world, that this is the power of thousands of Da Vinci people. So we really think that
Let me add just one word, ESG, because as a female
ESG,
company, I think we are very much committed to ESG. So, by the way, we got certification on gender parity, on also sustainability event, because of the way, I think the way we're working also as a benefit company is not to provide profit to the owners, but also to provide benefit for the system. This is something we didn't mention, that is very relevant for us. So the way of doing business in an ethical way, especially in our healthcare. And I think this is becoming relevant also for the customer, because also the big companies are looking at it.
Exactly. So we have a question, probably. It's coming from Alessia. So Alessia, I think you are in France, but probably you can also speak in Italian. So I leave you
in English.
Or in English, it will be better. Alessia. Okay. No.
If you want to write.
Okay, so maybe you can write your question. Normally you can speak. No, so maybe you can write if you want. Hello, can you hear us? Okay, seems to be complicated. So, digital is not as easy as we would like. Maybe you can write. Yes, you write something. Thank you. Can you see the chat? Yes, we can see the chat. So please go ahead.
Let me say that this is in the meantime, I like your format of webinar. It's very, very nice. You had a good idea. And for example, I think one of the added value of the collaboration is to learn from each other. So new ways of interacting with people. For example, we discover each other that we are working on the same database for startup of the different countries, very much in and this is very helpful because it can provide more an international view, or especially for the big corporations which are already on the different markets. So in my former experience, having a unique point of contact that can deliver more services, more geographical coverage is important, because in the end, you don't want to talk with 5 people in 5 different countries, but you rather prefer to have one unique view that can guarantee, and this is the value of having the same values, the same level of quality. Because the idea of the network of the different agencies is to ensure the local knowledge, but a high level of quality, but also international view, because I think we cannot survive as a unique market players. We need to play at least at European level, and unless we don't understand all together that we have to play together, we will be, weak and weak, especially in the technology field, where it's going so quickly that otherwise you cannot win.
Sure, and just getting to what you said, everything is about the human value, and it's not only about personality, it's about, in fact, coming together and sharing links and creating things together. And yes, I think there is a question.
So yes, Alessia was asking, my question is related to ESG and how we can elevate digital healthcare actions within the ESG space, which is now so critical. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. So I think ESG is an issue not only in digital health. So this is something that not only in terms of gender parity is quite limited in terms of knowledge. Just to give you some numbers, in Italy, out of the more than 10,000 startup, innovative startup, just 600 are benefit companies. In Italy, we have Chiesi as a B Corp and Sanofi Consumer Care as B Corp. So this is something that is a new trend in the big corporation. I think maybe it's easier in the small companies like we did. So we are benefit because it's easier to change the governance of a small organization rather than the governance of a huge organization. Let me finish saying that, of course, I'm very committed to the topic of the gender parity because the female entrepreneur are just about 15%. In DC, the number of females is even more limited. So I'm very sensitive to the gender parity, even if it's not only gender parity, but also environment, governance, so it's much more than gender parity. I think we did a huge effort on all this qualification for ourselves, so we can help, of course, the organization. For example, in my previous life, I was organizing also event. We got the certification for sustainable event, and this is something that our the customers, final customers, the HCP are appreciating a lot. And by the way, so the ESG criteria are also entering into the tenders. So we are just again at the beginning of a trend, and which to me is leading. I really believe on that because it's a way of doing business.
Yes.
And well, just one thing I wanted to do in France, what we have is we have created this every month digital health workshop, and these digital health offers are exactly dedicated to ESG. How, in fact, digital innovation can, in fact, help ESG strategy. We have been training more than 100 people for the moment. And it's very interesting because what we see with ESG that it's not only people from big companies, but also we had some people from coming from social security. We had a lot of people coming from who are HCP and really want to be involved in the ESG project.
Now it's over. The hour is finished. Thank you very much, Paola. Thank you very much, Michaela. And thanks to
Didier.
Luca. You cannot see him, but he was here to help. And thanks to Nicola, who is in Paris. So you see, we are working internationally. Thank you very much. We are close to Santa Maria delle Grazie with the famous painting, The Last Supper. Of the Christ, painted by Leonardo da Vinci. We cannot visit it, unfortunately, because it was sold out, but we will come back for sure.
Yeah.
So don't forget to, if you are interested, we will have a replay. We put it on LinkedIn, our LinkedIn, Digital Pharma Lab, your LinkedIn, Indicon, and welcome to Galaxiom Network. See you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.